at 12?
I got molested by my mom's husband at the age of 12, and I went into foster care.
So we got a young lady with us today. How you doing today, miss?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. It's a beautiful day out here. Beautiful day. All right, so so you guys called me out here, you know, with Jasmine and whatnot. So are you homeless?
No, I'm not.
Okay, so what's your situation?
Well, my situation is I'm blessed. I was homeless a month ago, but God blessed me and my husband with an apartment.
That's amazing. So it's just a month ago.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
so how long were you homeless for?
And I'm not gonna say I was homeless, because homeless is nowhere to go. I was in a homeless shelter.
So hold on. So let me. So there's levels to homelessness, right? And so if you're in a shelter, it's homeless.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So because even people in like hotels and things like that, homeless, right?
Right.
If anything happens to their income or whatever, and they're out on the street the next day. So anytime you could be on the street the next day, I consider that it. But it's levels to it.
Right.
So, but I get it. I get it. So okay. So you was in the shelter, and how long? That's what I'm saying. How long were y'all homeless for?
We was in the shelter for about December, January, February, about 2 months.
About 2-3 months.
2-3 months.
Okay. So, what was it that made you become? Oh, by the way, how old are you?
I'm 21.
21. Y'all are so young. All right, and so what was it that made you become homeless in the first place?
Can I be very vulnerable and honest?
I want you to be extremely vulnerable and honest.
Cool. So I was doing things. I'm a firm believer of Jesus Christ.
Okay.
I was doing things. I was being disobedient, and God had to humble me. Just as a father would do his child. If your child not behaving, you're gonna take certain things that you gave to them away. You're gonna allow them to reach rock bottom so they can recognize and they can do better. Because if you know better, you do better.
I love that. So what was it that you was doing?
So we was engaged, and you know, you shouldn't fornicate, you know, but people have certain beliefs, but I was trying to live by it.
Y'all need to stop trying to explain before you tell. Just tell me what happened, and then you could explain.
Cool. So, as far as like fornicating, I was fornicating. I was dealing a lot with smoking weed heavily. Before I got saved, and I would fall into temptations when things didn't go my way. I would fall into temptations.
So hold on. So when I say like what happened that caused you to become homeless, were you not able to pay the rent? Did you get kicked out somewhere? Were you living with mom and y'all got into arguing? Or what was it that happened to where one night you had a roof over your head, the next night you didn't?
All right, so boom. I stopped working. I work by myself. I sell candy on the martyr, and I stopped doing that because God told me to stop. I'm not knowing why He told me to stop, but I stopped, and I wasn't able to pay the roof. I was living in the Airbnb, and I wasn't able to pay.
Okay, so y'all was Airbnb-ing it. So
yeah.
How do we get to the Airbnb? Like, how do we get to that stage?
So before that, we was staying with our parents, but we had conflict. It was conflict between there because they didn't understand us, we didn't understand them, and we were just crashing heads. So, and we end up just moving out, leaving out.
Okay. So, because y'all are 21 right now, so
damn,
you know,
they only 21?
When were you like? So, what's the timeline here? Like, in other words,
that's crazy.
When did you first move out your parents' house? Let's just start there.
I was 12 years old when I first left my mom's house. I was 12 years old.
12?
I was 12.
Why'd you leave at 12?
I got molested by my mom's husband at the age of 12, and I went into foster care.
Okay. So hold on. So we got into childhood, but all right. So let me regroup. So as far as the homeless situation that you was in, right? Shelters, before the shelters, Airbnb, right? So you're saying before the Airbnb, you guys was at your parents' house?
Yes.
So y'all were together at your parents' house, or
yes.
You was at your parents' house, he was at his parents' house?
No, we was together at his mom's house, and then we left his mom's house, then we went to my mom's house, then we left my mom's house, and we went right back to his mom's house again.
Okay.
After that, and then after that, we went to an Airbnb. So from one Airbnb, we went to another Airbnb.
I get it.
And then after that Airbnb, we went to another one. And then after that, we was outside.
I get it. So the long and short of it, right? The long and short of it is that starting at sounds like maybe 19 or so is when you left mom's house for the last time, or were you 20?
No, I was definitely 21. This all happened
so this
in
happened.
a year span.
So this is all
back.
Got you. Okay. 18 through 20. So when did y'all meet? How old?
I was 21 when we met. I was 21.
So y'all just met,
yes.
like within the last year.
Yes, we
Okay,
met
okay.
a year ago.
Got you.
So she's only
Okay.
22.
Almost 2
And so
years.
prior to
That's why
that,
everybody shouldn't have
like
kids,
18
bro.
to 20, where were you living?
I was living with a friend.
A male friend or a female friend?
I was living with a female friend, but I had a male. I was dating a male.
Okay. Okay, so you're living with a female friend. Okay. And do you have any kids?
I'm actually pregnant now.
What?
Yes,
Let's
I
see
am.
what's going on. Wow, I see that little bump. Okay, it looks about 5 or 6 months or so.
3.
Oh, that's gonna be a. Well, he is a tall guy, so you know what I'm saying. Y'all got y'all an NFL, NBA player coming.
Yeah.
All right, hopefully we'll see. Okay, so and congratulations on your pregnancy.
Thank you.
And so all right, so let's just start from the beginning. So where you from?
I'm from Atlanta.
You
Georgia.
from here?
Yes.
What part? What about?
Bankhead, West Side.
Bankhead, hey
Hollywood
man.
Road.
Shout out that West
Trenches,
Side, man.
boy.
Yeah, hey, look, man. we it's unfortunate, but we love it.
We
You know what I'm
love it.
saying? Lee? Like,
That's why
I love it here. You know what I'm saying? Type deal. So okay, I get it. I get it.
That's
So,
why he said it's unfortunate. Bang had the trenches, money.
all right. So growing up in Atlanta, growing up in
Bluff.
the West Side, did you have both mom and dad in the household?
No, I didn't. I just had my mom. I got 2 other siblings. We got 3 different dads. So
Okay, so
yeah.
everybody's got their own dad. Was your dad? Was he like active and present at all?
he was at the minimum child support payments.
Okay, so he was sending in child support, but as far as physically,
No.
no. What effect do you think that had on you?
It didn't really. If anything, it just. I feel as though it really didn't have an effect because how would you know how something feel if you never had it before?
Well, because you may see other people with it. So you may see like the girl down the street or, the person at school whose dad comes around and you're like, oh, wow, look at that,
Yeah, I guess I never thought about
Never thought about it that way?
Yeah,
Okay. And I get that, but we're going to explore. We're going to explore that as we go on, right? Okay, so growing up, where were you in the birth order as far as your siblings? Oldest, middle, or youngest?
I'm the middle child.
Okay, middle child, all right. And so growing up, I guess I would say, would you say you had a fairly normal childhood, but you say that around 12 something happened to you. Mm-hmm. Was that the first time something happened?
Yes, that's the first
around 12?
time.
Okay,
Yeah.
and so, and you say it was essentially your stepdad or your mom's boyfriend, basically?
Yes, it was my stepdad because they were married.
They were married,
So it was
okay,
my
so it's your stepdad.
Yeah.
So he lived there and everything, and so
Yeah.
what was it, do you think, that made him start doing that? And before you answer that, was this a one-time thing or was it ongoing for a little while?
So it happened 4 times, maybe like in a week span, maybe a week and a half span. And honestly,
And we're talking about penetrative sex?
no, oral.
Okay.
Oral. So it was a molestation, not
Okay.
oral.
Okay, and so
What?
he made you do
Yeah.
it to him. Okay.
Yeah.
And so what do you think triggered that? What do you think made him, because
I'm
how long had he
speechless.
been living there before, like, what age did he start, how old were you when he started living
I had to
with
be
you
about
guys?
8 years old.
So he had been living there for about 4 years at that point. The oldest sibling that you had was a brother or a sister?
A brother.
A brother? How many years older?
3.
3? And so I'm imagining this stuff would happen at the house. Like, how would it happen? Like, how did you have mom and I guess the brothers and nobody knew? Like, what happened?
Yeah, so the first night it happened, everybody was asleep. It shocked me. I was laying down. I could remember like it was yesterday. And he came and tapped me and he was like, shh. Like soon he opened. Soon I opened my eyes, he's like, shut. So he took me to the living room. He was like, yeah, your mom don't do this stuff. I want you to be my new wife. I asked your mom to do it. She don't never do it. And that's when it just happened. And I didn't know. After that, I don't even know what I was thinking. I was young. He had gave me money.
This shit sound like a Tyler Perry film, bro. What the hell, bro? I don't even know what to say, bro. What?
After I never did anything with the money because my mama never been the type we can hang out with friends, we could go anywhere. Like she's never been that type of person to even let us go outside. So I never told my mom, but I went to school. I told my friend, and she ended up telling the counselor people, and they ended up telling DFACS. DFACS came to the house, and
So let me slow you down real quick. So, because you
ACS.
say it happened like in kind of rapid succession
Child
within like a
Protective
week and a
Services,
half,
most likely.
about 4 times. Well, you said it specifically 4 times. You remember specifically doing it 4 times.
yeah.
When did you tell? Was it after the first time or after the 4th time?
after the last time. is when I
Okay,
told.
and so after the first time, or even the second or third, what were you thinking? Like, what was like, what what were you thinking was happening, you know?
I was numb. I don't even remember having thoughts for real, for real. I don't remember feeling anything. I just remember feeling very uncomfortable when I was around him, or just even like.
In other words, like the second and third time, right? Mm-hmm. Was he just like, all right, come on and do it, like you already know type deal? Mm-hmm. And he gave you money each time?
Yep.
Okay.
Now I can't remember how much money it was. I was young. I was 12.
Yeah, you didn't have a concept of really, and it sound, especially if you like didn't go outside and stuff like that. Yeah. You didn't have a concept. It could have been Monopoly money,
right.
Like.
She told D-Fax, and D-Fax came to me. I talked to him in the school. I told him everything, and then I didn't know. I know nothing about D-Fax. These people came to the house. So when you live with your mom and you feel like you can't be honest or vulnerable to her, you know, you live out of fear. Yeah. So they came, and when they came, they asked me in front of my mom, did it happen? I lied and I said no. I didn't lie and say no because it never happened. I lied and said no because I was fearful, because when they left, I'm still there with my mom. Y'all not there.
Right.
So I lied. But then I eventually just came out, I was like, yeah, he did it again. Like,
to who?
I stood on it. Now that I really can't remember, but I stood on that. And you know, it was a whole case. D-Fast got involved.
How long in between when you lied about it to when you stood on it?
It was not that long. I really can't remember.
Okay, so maybe like a week or so?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so like, I guess you felt like, man, I ain't living under this.
Yeah.
Because did he try to do something afterwards?
No.
I bet he didn't.
No, my mom didn't even believe me. My mom didn't even believe me. Yeah.
Right, so that's what I'm saying. But did the stepdad try to do anything with you after?
No.
Right, so he was probably shook.
Yeah.
At that point, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, and so mom didn't believe you. How did that make you feel?
It really hurted me, y'all. I really cried. It hurted me to my core, for real, because it's just like, dang, like. And the thing is, I knew she believed me. We had a camera in our living room. Mm-hmm. I just felt as though she didn't want to leave her husband. She wanted.
Oh, nigga, wait. There's a camera in the wait, what? What the fuck? Yo, what type of luck or dummies? What type of dummies people be in? What type of luck do niggas be having? What? Is a camera in the living room, so she was most likely able to run that back on film and see it. And didn't believe you, but most likely she didn't want to lose her husband. But how do you look past something like that, though? Yo, what's going on my feed today?
To stay with her husband, you know. See, like I said, we was raised in the hood. We end up moving to Union City. So, you know, she was getting Michael Kors bags, things in that nature that no man ever did for her before. Right. She was getting those things, and that's what she was holding on to. Okay. She didn't want to let that go. She thought that love was the love for her. Wow. So yeah, wow. It really hurted me.
Your younger sibling is a brother or sister?
A sister.
Huh. Mm-hmm. Do you think he did anything to her? Or no, she never said anything like that? Okay.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay, because what effect do you think that had on you?
Okay, and y'all, and it may seem crazy, but I feel like it had a great effect on me, because I was able, when like I said, I was 12 years old when I left. I went into foster care because my behavior started changing. I started running away.
Okay,
I started running away and not want to be home. I started like just acting out in school, and I didn't even know why. I guess
what did that acting out look like?
If somebody would say something to me wrong, I would pop off. Mm-hmm.
See, and the reason why I ask these questions is because we see these type of behaviors in some young ladies, and we just think they're just being bad, or they're just doing this or doing that. But these may be signs that something may be happening.
Trauma.
Yep. Okay, so you ended up in the system, and you felt like that was a good thing for you.
That was a great thing for me, actually.
And why so?
I got to experience life at an early age, and I got to experience the do's and the don'ts of life. I got all this other stuff that now I don't want to do at the age of 21, because I experienced it at such a young age.
How the hell is you only 21?
I get that, right? I get that, but I'm going to tell you, that wears off. Because I was the same way. I did a lot of things earlier, and then by the time I was like around 21, I was like, man, I'm grown. I'm too old for that stuff. Mm-hmm. And then by the time I was like 28, I was like, I miss being a kid. I got to do all that stuff again. So just expect it to come back around at some point. Trust me, it does. But, okay, so because you're saying in foster care, it sounds like you just had a lot of freedom to do this, that, and the third.
Freedom, and I had no guidance.
So let me ask you this. the molestation that you went through, did it make you, because some people it makes them hypersexual and some people it makes them the opposite where they like completely withdraw from sex?
Yeah, it very much turned me off. I didn't like men. I didn't want nothing to do with men. I didn't want nothing to do with sex. I didn't want nothing to do with that.
Yeah, because I mean, does that trauma, like in other words, does that affect the relationship that you have now?
No, it surely don't.
Okay, so no, that's a great thing. That's a great thing. All right. Okay. And so you essentially, did you finish high school?
So I didn't finish high school because I was, like I said, I was in foster care. When I was in
You was
group
wilding
homes,
out. You was wilding out. You know what I'm saying? You was
very
wilding
much
out.
wilding out.
Right.
But I did go back last year to get my high school diploma, though.
Okay.
I didn't go back to school, but I got it through
a program.
program.
Yeah, I get
That's
it.
fine.
I get it.
That's
So
what's
you
up.
got your high school
Yes.
diploma or GED equivalent, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
high
So,
school.
okay, so you got the diploma actually.
Yes, I got the diploma.
That's a great thing. That's a good thing. Okay, and so, all right. Is any of that stuff that happened back then the reason why you and mom didn't get along when you was kind of going back here and there and all this stuff, kind of back and forth to where you couldn't stay with mom eventually and that type of stuff?
Well, it didn't lead to me not staying with mom, but it led to a relationship.
The strained relationship.
Yeah, because she still, I feel as though she had to deal with that guilt and all that stuff. And when my mom get in relationships, her head just, that person brain is thinking for her. You get what I'm saying? It's not.
So
it's not
is she
her.
still with that guy?
No, she's not. They're still married, but they're separated.
Okay. Does she believe you now that happened, or?
I feel as though my mom always believed me. She just wanted to be with. She was just so.
Well, I
in
mean,
her
has
mind.
she validated
She never.
it?
No. My mom never. And
So-
I brought it up the last time I brought it up was maybe like a couple months ago when I was staying with her, and she was silent. Her body language change was like she wanted to say she believed it, but her pride didn't let her say it.
So let me do this, right? One of the things that we do on this channel, we have conversations with people when they're not right in front of us, right? Because it just helps us to really get off all our feelings without being interrupted or gaslit or anything like that, right? So in that regard, as far as to mom, right? In relation to that situation, just what do you want to tell her? What do you want to, ask her or whatever it is?
The first thing I would ask her was why she never validated that she believed me. And the second thing I want to tell her is I do understand why you wouldn't believe that. And I probably had a question about her past, like if it happened to you before, if it happened to, your sister, or if it happened in the household that somebody didn't do that same thing to you. So maybe that you put it off on me. And that's really about it. And that I don't have no grudges. Like, I love my mom too.
Yeah, you got a beautiful energy, beautiful spirit, beautiful smile too.
Thank you.
And I guess though,
At least she's still able to smile. Shoot.
I can't help but to think in my head, and this may be crass, so audience forgive me, and you forgive me too, right? If this is crass, but do you think that if mom was, giving him toppy, you know what I'm saying, that he would have ever came at you like that?
No, I don't think so. Because he did say that my mom don't do the things that
Right, and
that
I can understand, because how old is your mom?
my mom is 44.
Right, and see, so I'm 41 going on 42, right? And so I know that the generation I come from and the ones before that, giving head was like a big deal. You know what I'm saying? Like, they didn't used to want to do it a whole lot. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then all of a sudden, like, the next generation used to just, like, they came along and they were just doing it like, you know what I'm saying? Like it ain't nothing. So if you're dealing with women that are like about 10 years or so, or maybe even 5 to 10 years younger than me, sloppy toppy all day long. You know what I'm saying? But with some of the women that are in my generation and generations older than me, they be tripping about that. And so I would wonder, like, because what are they, like, that's, if you're married to them, that's one of your duties, you know what I'm saying? And essentially doing that, and, obviously, we're not excusing the guy's behavior.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I know people watch like, oh, they're removing the blame off the dude. No, we already know what dude do need to be put under the ground. But he's just asking the hard questions, like, what you think? Do you think if you really want to be technical, he's kind of shifting the blame onto the mom, which is, you let that mom stay in your crib.
Okay, but just thinking logically, doing that may have prevented trauma from happening to her daughter.
That's
you know
true.
what I'm saying? And
Possibly.
so it's just like people gotta, you know, I don't know, like if you get into something, you know, take care of business. You know what I'm saying? Like that's wild. So all right, well, listen, we really appreciate you taking the time, answering all of our questions. If anybody out there did want to reach out, help, or donate, you have a way for
Yo, this story was wild as hell, y'all.